Hello everybody, this is Darren Redmond for Redmond's Wrap Up, brought to you by FHT Sports. It's the evening of Sunday, December 9th, and we have a very special FHT Sports Baseball Hot Stove edition as we talk about how Harold Baines and Lee Smith have been elected to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Two of Chicago's favorite sons. And boy, they get the night as well, as Chicago Bears won as well. There are people already wondering how were some of these selections made, what criteria was used, why them and not somebody else. And that's part of the thing about the Baseball Hall of Fame, or really any sports Hall of Fame. We at FHT Sports, we actually have a Hockey Hall of Fame, a Fresno Hockey Hall of Fame, and people ask us, with the nominations that we made this year and the elections that we made. And the good thing was nobody questioned them. They were like, what criteria did you use? So this election was done by what used to be called the Veterans Committee. Lee Smith, Harold Baines. And the criteria is different than it used to be. And you have some people who are very targeted, very specific to different decades and on and on. Harold Baines, we all know. We all know who he is, a clutch player. More of a DH and a pinch hitter extraordinaire by the end of his career. Nothing wrong with that. But he didn't hit 290. And does that leave him out of the Hall of Fame? Again, I'm not here to question who anybody puts in the Hall of Fame, though I was extremely upset with the NFL and not allowing Ken Stabler in until his death. And then miraculously, I guess his numbers must have mystically changed somehow, some way, that they made that happen. Harold Baines would not have been my first choice, second choice. There's just so many other people are on the list. But I'm not going to lose any sleep that he's in the Hall of Fame. When I hear that Harold Baines went in and Oral Hershiser, the Mad Dog, did not, and they were on the same selection process, I would have went with Oral Hershiser, the Mad Dog. He just, in 1989, the Dodgers won that World Series because of Earl Hershiser. I mean, obviously, Kirk Gibson, big home run over Dennis Eckersley. We all know. The big question there is, like, do you listen to the Joe Buck call or the Vince Scully call, right? We know that. Love baseball. I would have picked Oral Hershiser. When you see somebody like a Harold Baines get in, you then wonder what parameters were used. You have a person with a dozen Gold Gloves, Keith Hernandez. Some people don't like him. He did not hit 300. He hit 297. Injuries in his last couple of years affected his production, but the man was dominant. And then you have a lot of people like that. Does Don Mattingly get in with the back injury? And again, I'm picking some New York people because that's where I was born and raised, but you can pick anybody, else, Wally Joyner. You could really look at it. J.R. Richard, whose career was cut short. But again, so Harold Baines goes in, not against it. Wouldn't be my first choice, but I understand it. You could say the same thing about Pee Wee Reese. You could say the same thing about the Scooter. Though those two gentlemen won World Series, though it was a lot easier theoretically to get into the World Series then as it is now, or even when Harold Baines was playing. So fine with that. Lee Smith, to me, passes the eye test. He was the leader in saves until he was surpassed by Rivera and Hoffman. Yankees, San Diego Padres, not really the Milwaukee Brewers, but respectfully. But Lee Smith, to me, passes the eye test. He was a dominant player for a long time. He'd give up the gopher ball. He would give it up, and much like Goose Gossage. And I always looked at Goose Gossage. When Goose Gossage got in, I said, he's Lee Smith. And now Lee Smith is in. So, again, are there other people that you could put in? Absolutely. To me, I have less of a problem with Lee Smith, and I don't have a problem with Harold Baines as much as if Harold Baines, what was the specific criteria? Was it for the position that he played? Well, if it was because he was an overall great player, then you know who in Seattle needs to get in. Edgar needs to get in. I look at, if you're going to put Harold Baines in and kind of put in the fact that he was DH, then Edgar has to get in. You have to put in Edgar. I think so, anyway. So, it's interesting. So, congratulations to both. Harold Baines, I probably would not have voted in. I would have put in Hershiser. Lee Smith, to me, I have no problem with. Sleep like a baby. Sleep like a baby with both of them, but Lee Smith was a heck of a player for a long time. There was Lee Smith, Bruce Sutter. During those times, they got it done. So Lee Smith, definitely would put him in. Harold Baines, not so sure. Surprising. But this is what used to be called the Veterans Committee has the power to do now. This is what we want. It just makes me wonder about so many other players who had what we would consider above average careers, but not great. Very few times are there the no question Ken Griffey Jr., Tom Seaver, Nolan Ryan kind of people that get in. And Harold Baines, he's now a Hall of Famer. And you know what? People said that about Ralph Kiner, right? I mean, Ralph Kiner's career was shortened, but he still got in by the slimmest of margins, I think, statistically, that did not go to what used to be called the Veterans Committee. What do you think? Please let me know. Darren Redmond at FHT Sports. If you know from the comments that you do leave on other subjects that I cover, I get back to you immediately or right away, and we engage. I love talking sports. FHT, Serge Bogosian, Uncle Tony Duran, all of us, Tiffany Graham. She could talk hockey all day. Bring your A game. She's better than most people out there, trust me. And when I get into a discussion with Tiffany or Serge or Tony on hockey, and I think I know some stuff, they school me. I bring a pen and a piece of paper. So if you're gonna, let's have at it. No need to yell, no scream. Who would you, if you were on what used to be called the Veterans Committee, would you put in to a Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame, based on your ability to put people in who might have been overlooked, but did get a statistical threshold? I'd find that interesting. And again, nobody has ever answered the question why Ken Stabler was denied until he died, and then miraculously, somehow, they put him in the Hall of Fame. So, congratulations to Howard Baines. Congratulations to Lee Smith. Congratulations to the Chicago Bears, who I think at 9-4 right now are going to, 9-4 right now. They're going to go far in the playoffs. Don't be surprised. And if you're playing outside of a dome, this team can hit. So this is Darren Redmond. Redmond's Wrap Up, brought to you by FHT Sports. Please, right here, subscribe, like, share. We've got so much to talk about over the upcoming days, weeks, months, and years. God bless. Happy Sunday. Congratulations, Howard Baines. Congratulations, Lee Smith.